Well, hello and welcome to the wrap. This is the show rounding up all things Zwift from the last week. We're talking racing, events, tech, fashion, you name it. I'm Nathan Guerra. This is Anna Russell sat next to me. We are on episode, is that right? Number 78. We got that right? I was double checking here if I got that right. For some reason, I thought that we were on episode number 77, but I guess that's right. Thursday, January 11th, 2024. And we've got a great show coming at you today. Now, if you didn't know, this is also a podcast, though. You can download it anywhere that you do download your podcast. Just as a reminder, head on over to zwiftcommunitylive.com/podcast to get it, or search The Wrap and Zwift anywhere that you download your podcasts, and you'll be able to find it. Today on The Wrap, we're going to be talking about today's Grand Prix, the epic points race that did take place out on the PRL half. We'll be talking about USA Nationals Roundup. We're going to be talking about the Zwift 1.56 update. Australia Cycling also has announced a national championships. We'll be talking about what that might mean. Maybe we'll throw in something about Cycling Canada as well. And we've also got our awesome guest from Zwift Insider, Eric Schlange, and he's going to be talking to us about indoor kits as well as the Zwift Chase Challenge that he has put together that goes right alongside with the Tour de Zwift. Obviously, our jersey pick of the week is the TDZ kit. We'll be giving that a rating. Let us know what your rating is in chat. And as usual, we're going to start off with what the heck have we been up to over the last week when it's related to Zwifty stuff. Anna, how's it going on in New Zealand?
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's really, really sunny and hot and summery and just awesome. So it's been great here. And yeah, I'm feeling a little bit tired today, though. I think I don't even know what week of the school holidays it is. I barely even know what day it is. But I think just I'd had a couple of weeks of sort of hard training and also like a lot of time with the kids hanging out at the beach, and we went camping and did all of that fun stuff. But I think and we've been watching Lord of the Rings at nighttime, my husband and I.
Like
so
epic
I think maybe just
for like
yeah. No,
one
like
after
not
another,
all at
like
the same
can't put it
time.
down, or do you do one and then like it's done? Sorry, go to bed.
Do you know what is we actually do a half of one and then go to bed and then do the next half and the next half. So it's taken like a good sort of, what would that be?
All week?
Like 9
maybe
days?
more? Yeah.
Yeah, a long time. Yeah, a long time. So anyway, I think I've just maybe done a bit too much. But training's going good. I did 3 efforts up Keith Hill. Because I had 3 by 13 minutes to do. And I was just like, when you're just a bit demotivated to go erg mode workout, you're like,
that's been really the last like 2 months of my life. I'm not kidding. Like seriously, I get it.
I was like, I just need to find something that's a bit different. And so I just went on to Zwift Power, looked at my best segment time on a climb that was as close to 13 minutes as I could get. And yeah, picked Keith Hill and just did it 3 times and raced my hologram. So yeah, it was a bit of fun. And other than that, a lot of running. And my son is doing the tour. I don't know if you remember last week, I was like, I don't know when I'm going to fit in the Tour de Zwift. And then I realized my son really wanted to do it too. So we're doing each stage together when they come up, and he's, kicking my ass in it. I have like slightly tinkered with his Z power. So he's going very fast. So it's entertaining and fun for him. But yeah, that's good. What about you, Nathan?
Just a group ride, everyone. It is just a group ride. Come on now. Okay. I just can't catch a break this season. So it was like, come in like, I'm ready to go, and then back, and then sick, and then start training kind of, and then sick again. Like, and then this time though, like sick. I mean, like this wasn't a training issue. This wasn't over. This was just, I ran into probably, I don't know, everyone around me in like our circles, from like extended family to whatever, all like they got COVID. So I'm just assuming, because it does feel it's upper respiratory, and it has that loss of taste. It also has the like extreme lethargic after you're kind of getting better anyways, though still hanging around totally. Like, so whatever. Like, so that I've just been laying in my bed and then, and then trying to like, and then like, you're kind of getting better, but you're still coughing stuff. But you're like, okay. And then you go to like, try to like even walk down the street and you're like, I'm going back to, I'm done. That's it. Like, so, and I'm listening to my body. I really am. Like a couple days ago, I gave it a go and at least got a sweat in and did some like, for some reason I just enjoy going to the climb portal because it has like a achievement by doing 10 minutes, know, so that at the end, okay, well I did something and go back down. I did something and go back down, so, and at least got that. And then I was going to ride again yesterday and I just had like, it was one of those things like, I don't know what the feeling is. I wish I could really describe it. The best way I could describe it is like the little energy lemmings in my legs. They just run out really fast, like really, really fast. Like I go to stand, like I stand up or try even like thinking about working out. I get tired. Like I'm going to go for it. And then like, I get this sense in my body, like, no, you really shouldn't do that. So anyways, there's my long, blah, blah, blah. Nathan's sick again, but I'm getting better. And I rode tonight before the podcast. And this is the first day I actually feel like kind of on the other side of it. Not 100% even close, probably 80%, but at least I don't feel sick on the bike. I just feel like, not quite ready, but not sick. And then I also swapped to my mountain bike. And 100% all the back problems like gone. So whatever's going on with me and my road bike is definitely causing this disc issue. And I just need to stay away from that bike till we like sell it or fix the positioning on it. But I'm kind of happy to be riding my mountain bike. It feels like that's where I'm at home. So that was cool at least. So there's a positive for my own riding. Then obviously I had actually a lot of fun today with Grand Prix being on the broadcast, and I thought it was a cool race day broadcast. It was pretty cool. And then obviously USA Nationals was this weekend and worked. I think I literally worked in 4 days, 72 hours or something like that. It was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot, but it was good. Like it was well worth it. But wow, that was quite the haul. Because maybe we go into a little bit of that of like what that actually looks like to produce something like that. Because not for my own sake or anything, I just not sure. I think people might even be wondering like what actually takes place to get all of that content into that 3-hour period. What does that actually look like? So maybe when we get on that, we'll talk about that a little bit, but that's what I've been up to. But maybe we jump right into Grand Prix, and I think we'll just jump in since we got Eric hanging out with us in the background. He can give all of his opinions, even if he didn't watch the Grand Prix or not. I'm not sure. Maybe he did. Eric Schlange is with us today, and great to have you here with us, Eric, from Zwift Insider. If you don't know who Eric Schlange is from Zwift. I don't know if you Zwift, because I think if you search Zwift, I'm not sure. Let me check. Let me just see what my Google does. If I search Zwift,
straight away Zwift Insider for me.
Zwift. Okay. So this is probably not organic though. I would assume. Like I think the top one is probably organic, and then from there, I wouldn't be surprised if it was, Wikipedia is probably not a paid, but the Google Play I would think maybe is. But I mean, if you search Zwift and not Zwift Insider and not Zwift Insider article related anyway, it's number 4. So that's not, it's not bad at all.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. You're gonna
just off the podium. Story of my life.
You're going to out Google. So the platform itself, that's the goal, Eric?
Yeah, I'm this close.
Right on.
Yeah.
So Eric, what do you? Let's do the usual. You're a part of the show this week. What have you been up to for the last week?
Oh, what have I been up to? I've been attempting to ride my new bike outside, but the weather has not been cooperating with me, so it's been very frustrating.
But you got a Zwift Penarello bike, right? So I think it's telling you that it wants to be ridden indoors because it's a Zwift bike.
I think that's what it is. It's like, so today I actually rode it for the first time on Zwift. The problem, it's got a 12-speed cassette, and I don't want to swap off the cassettes that are on my various trainers that are wandering around my house. So I actually threw it on the Wahoo roller that you rode when you were at my house.
Oh,
Nathan.
yeah, I did.
Do you recall that?
I do. I do recall that.
I remember you sprinting
I was
and walking
focused
the
on
roller
something else
all
a
over
little
the
bit
room.
at that time. Like,
yeah, a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Wisely
But I do
so.
remember, I do definitely remember riding the trainer.
Anyway, yeah. I've been having fun with that and having fun with Tour de Zwift stuff, coming up with strange challenges for it and mocking everybody in their bucket hats while I ride in first-person camera, pretending I'm not wearing that in game. That's my opinion of the kit. The bucket hat drives me crazy.
Oh, wait, that is our kit of the week as well.
Yeah,
so
we'll have to give a good,
stay on
good
for
rating of that
the
for
rating
sure.
of-
Yeah, for sure. Well,
I'm okay with the rest of the kit. It's just the bucket hat. Whew.
Let's jump right on into Grand Prix. Did you watch Grand Prix at all today, Eric?
I just like, I wouldn't even classify it as watching it. I looked at the results, I skimmed through it, but I was not watching it live. Unfortunately,
gotcha.
I was trying to get too much stuff done.
Gotcha. Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. So quick roundup
race,
on
though.
that.
Big
It
race.
was a really good race, I thought,
Yeah.
across the men's and the women's. Anna, what's your take on this race format? And like, it's different. This is different. What happened today?
Yeah, I liked it. I think if you're going to put two at the different ends of the spectrum, like the really short points huntery style versus this long one, like I quite liked this long one. Like I think it just it made it quite dynamic racing, just because you're watching for a lot longer. You kind of got the riders a bit more, because you'd see where someone was going to attack and you'd be like, oh, they're that punchy rider who is kind of going to put it all out there and risk things. And then you could see the riders were like playing it a bit smart and sitting in the pack. I don't know. You just got a bit more of like a story. It was kind of, it's why you like watching Grand Tour races, is it's very long and you get a sort of build up. So I really enjoyed it actually. Like I can't say I had all the kids with me so that we kind of had it on in the background, but I definitely watched both the men and the women on that last sort of couple of laps, couple of times up Box Hill. And just the fact in the women's race that there was a breakaway that stuck. And you can see why it stuck is because the people in the group had no motivation to chase it down, because they're just looking at each other. And you look at what happened, I know we'll talk about that as well, but the USA Nationals race, same thing. A group of 3 went up the road because they were in the pack, basically group 2 syndrome. And it was cool. Like you could see the tactics playing out. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the longer format. I personally thought it was great.
Yeah, I thought it really created a great narrative. A good story did play out. And then that tension in the end with both races, the men's and the women's race, both had different outcomes, but the same tension was in the air about what if, what could happen here, what could happen here. And I think that's kind of what we show up for racing for, is like, what's the gamble that's going to happen, and how's the game going to get played out, whether or not there's going to be a reward for one way you're rooting or another way you're rooting. And if you don't get those situations, there's not really anything to play out except for, that's kind of why everybody tunes out on the sprint stages, right? Of the Tour de France. You're like, well, it's just a sprint stage, so tune in for the last 15 seconds. You know what I mean? But it's, yeah, so I thought it was a great format. I think also the points being where they were at least spiced things up a little bit. I am noticing that point structures like that do kind of kill the racing a little bit sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people sit around and put a lot of chips into the points sections, and so then everyone doesn't take risks outside of the points sections.
I have an idea on that, and you guys kind of mentioned it was it in the broadcast, or I think it was when you came in, or it was in chat or somewhere. But I think what they could replace the points with is prize money or points for just the most combative rider. So it's not like, hey, it's that banner. It's just like, if you're a combative rider who's going to like put your chips down, you're going to get rewarded for that. And you just do it where you think it works for you. And I think then it could create a little bit more like dynamics outside of just a segment. So Oh, is that a heart for that comment, Eric, or is that off? Is that for Carsten?
No,
Yes.
because Carsten said that
Yeah,
Eric
that's
has the best blue eyes in
for Carsten.
Watopia. Those are very blue. Those are like emerald blue. Like, whoa, what's that? Are those real? What's going on here?
It does look a little weird, doesn't it?
Are you
I don't know what's going on.
special contacts in, or is that from that?
It was no.
You're in a special
It was
world.
that druid.
You're actually
The druid that I
the
met
druid.
in Scotland.
It was the druid from
Oh
Scotland.
my gosh, that was so
If you
random.
don't
Bless
know
me.
what that's about, everyone, we did a little cameo on GP Llama's YouTube channel where we did Peak Zwift again. We used to do Peak Zwift on the Zwiftcast, and so Llama had Simon, myself, and Eric all put a little something together and do our Peak Zwift predictions. Head on over there for the predictions. We're not going to do them here, but Peak Zwift, we need a lot of Zwifters. I want to win this one, and I went the highest. So come on, Zwifters, let's go.
It's definitely a little rigged between Shane having the data and him putting in his guest after we all log ours.
Yeah, it is okay. I'm
there's a bit of
glad you
fixing going
agree
on.
a little bit there on that one,
Yeah.
because like he gets to watch the
That's
trend.
all he did was undercut us. I mean, that's all it is. He just guessed
He priced
it
us
right
right
underneath.
at it 100%.
Yep,
I
yep,
wish I had
yep.
a soundbite for that.
I'm not bitter.
Not at all.
It's cool.
Not at all. So okay, let's do our USA.
I trust the druid.
The druid. Well, we'll see if that worked out. That's a big trip to Scotland to figure out Peak Zwift. That's for sure.
gonna be
big
worth
thumbs up to Grand Prix. It sounds like across the board, and I'm excited to see how Points Hunter plays out, and it also is a look forward to Zwift games and how things might play out at a top end. So I also kind of like it that last thing on that the winners were not. The teams won. It is a team competition, but the outright winners today were not somebody you would necessarily predict. And it kind of, Josh Harris, last minute move, boom, and grabs it. Just everyone just looked at him, and it was just over.
It was so good.
It was so good. And then
Eleanor Wiseman, my teammate,
yeah,
the women's,
yeah, totally. And she was gone with oh shoot. Why do I keep
the Italian rider from Castelli.
from my own team, and I keep on forgetting the name. Oh man. Anyways, it was a really, really, really good race as far as that goes. So round up on USA Nationals. I'll do a quick little insight into what it takes to do the broadcast. Like, as an idea, everybody, the building of that broadcast took from making sure all of the things are kind of in place to even get the data that we needed and the stuff from all the athletes and make sure it was all working. The testing for that actually started at the end of November, and then started going in through ERL. And we were actually doing a lot of testing in the background to make sure what we were doing with ERL would match up and be able to shine what we were testing in ERL into the actual nationals. And then I think it was early on Friday, even into Thursday. Well, Wednesday, we did our first event tests. Then we saw some problems in the event tests. Then we did event tests again on Friday. And from Friday night during those event tests until after the broadcast on Sunday, I slept a total of 6 hours and was up till 4 a.m. each night working specifically on broadcast stuff, preparing to get ready for recording the entirety of all the Masters and then going through all the Masters content to get all the highlights and then cutting all of the highlights and getting those all prepared to be talked about either in pre-recorded voiceovers or live. We didn't have time because of all the prep to actually do pre-recorded voiceovers. So then we just did them live. And then also building a sick intro video based off all the ERL stuff that I wanted to do earlier in the week, but because I was sick, I just ended up having to do it at like the last minute. But it ended up turning out really, really awesome. And then all the prep outside of that with making sure that all of the cameras and data, there was some last minute data stuff that had to make sure that was happening with making sure all the Omnium things were happening right. So it's definitely a lot. And I just say that to like, for me, the roundup is not just what happened in the race. It's also like but I'm not saying all that just because I'm like, oh, all this really hard work. It's more of like, what I said to Christopher Schwanker on Zamina K, I really meant that this is a win for the athletes and a win for like having the nationals and having an awesome competition, but it's also a win for all the organizations getting involved, because what you said, I think it was a week or two ago, where as the community organizers start having more tools and having more ability to have a win for themselves, they start getting something out of creating awesome events. And then you can really see this whole thing grow. That the more that happens, the more land essentially that can be taken in this area to grow stuff on. You know, and I think this is the right step in that direction. Is kind of why even I'm doing all that work in the first place. Anyways, so that's my roundup.
Cool. It's awesome. It's I thought the Echelon series, I think do they have a couple more races of that to go, the series?
3 more. Yeah, there's 3 more. There's one this weekend, the following in the weekend after that, actually, which will be interesting to see who shows up, because Boudica's this weekend also, and I think a lot of women are racing that, so it's a little bit on top of each other there.
Yeah, but I think the Echelon series, I used to watch it a little bit actually when they were on RGT.
Yeah, RGT. Yep.
Yeah, I used to watch that a bit just because my teammates were in there. And yeah, I just think coming back to Zwift, you taking over the broadcast, it looked awesome. Like, I think some of the stats that were coming up, I think I said that with my best race of the year for the women was that race with Gabby and KK racing around Crit City, I think it was. And it was just because you could see the side-by-sides the whole time. And I have to say, I don't know if the broadcast team at Grand Prix listened to that kind of feedback from all of us, but they did a much better job in the race today of pulling in live cameras and doing all of that. So I think, yeah, like you said, it's kind of upping the game everywhere. And I mean, the Echelon series is focused on USA, but, you know, I have seen news that Australia is coming out with a series and an in real life national championship crowning their esport Australian winner. So I think it lulled a bit last year and now it's coming back up again is the kind of feeling I have.
So as far as the racing itself, Eric, what do you think about nationals? Did you get a chance to take a look at it? And what did you I feel like you have an outside perspective. We're in this bubble, me and Anna, of like really in it, and we race some of this stuff, and then we race with these people, and like you sit a little bit outside of that bubble. I feel like in more of the general Zwifter space, yet do race as well. So like, what's your take on what's going on with Grand Prix, but also specifically with USA Nationals? Like, was it majorly on your radar? Was like, whoa, this is really cool. We're like, oh, it's another event.
Somewhere in between those two. I was super stoked when I heard that USA Cycling was coming back to Zwift, because I was bummed when they kind of left, whenever that was, quite a while ago. So I was excited to see the race happening. I thought the broadcast was great. Like Anna said, it was clear that you guys had put in a lot of work to kind of take it to the next level. So that was that was just fun to see, different views of data, that sort of thing. 2 winners, Duffy and Kolchinski. You couldn't really ask for more deserving winners for sure. We both know that they're legit, so it was fun to see them perform at their best and do so well. What else? The 3 event format. I thought it was good. It was punchy. I'm still kind of up in the air. I kind of like what you said, Anna. I kind of like the long event model maybe a little more myself. I've told Zwift for a long time that what I like in cycling, the reason I watch cycling racing is the stories behind it. I want to connect with the riders and know their story, and then that makes whatever is happening in the actual race much more engaging for me. So yeah, the live camera is part of that for sure, actually seeing real faces. But if there's something that you could do to tell me where they've come from, or what makes this rider special, and it's not just these cartoon characters on the screen. anything that you can do to do that, I think makes the racing much more powerful.
I thought,
But I do
want
think,
to
I think
mention
that's happening. I think that's being developed.
yeah, I do want to mention too. I was so devastated to see Gallegos have a dropout of power. It was in the Richmond race, was it? Right before she went up 23rd Street, and she just disappeared. And it actually felt like when I've watched in real life races and someone has a mechanical or a flat, and they were like pushing it to win, and I was like, oh, that is so sad. Like it
Yeah.
felt crushing like that. And I think it's because, like Nathan, you named her as like the breakout rider of, 2023. And you're really hoping for these riders. And then you see that and you're like, oh my gosh, this is like so devastating. So I felt really like in it. It was quite fun to watch. Yeah, I think I agree, Eric. I think maybe like next time they could just do a longer race. Instead of the 3, although the TT kind of spiced it up a little bit because it
was
kind of
cool to have that mixed in there. It's just a whole different race strategy.
And Bologna is always a great one to watch people on because it's a lot of people just blow up 2/3 of the way up the climb.
Gallegos, I think, was a favorite, actually. Like, I'm not sure not to take anything away from Kristen, with her being sick, I am wondering if we would have had the same result. Like if Gallegos wouldn't have had, and she actually, it was a skewer. She bent her skewer or something, and her bike actually fell out of the trainer on 23rd.
Oh,
like she actually bent
true mechanical.
Real mechanical ended up happening, and so it was really heartbreaking. I really was hurting for her on that one. We've actually Gabby's become friends with her recently from racing with her, and they've been chatting a lot or whatever, and there was excitement, and I'm totally rooting for Kristen as well. I'm good friends with Kristen, friends with her, but like to be able to watch both of them go head to head, and Liz as well, would have been a little bit like, but at the same time, like you said, it had that drama then put into the middle of it, and I thought it was great that then she stuck with it and then won the second race. Like she came back and said, fine, whatever, but then put it all on the line there still rather than giving up. I thought that was a great story as well.
Yeah, that was to see her come back in race 2. And then the other part that I really enjoyed, so I'll probably talk more about the women's race here, but what I really enjoyed in race 3 was the neutralization of Liz and KK. So you could see that group went up the road. Liz, I think, realized, because you could see the frustration again on the live cam. You could see she was like visibly frustrated because she essentially made a huge tactical error of not getting onto that group. And she's trying to bridge the gap, but that's too late because you've got KK who's going to follow every move you do and drag everyone with you. And so she was in this position that you see in real life all the time of someone who's stuck in the second group and cannot get up to where they need to be because they're so neutralized by their competitors sitting there. And you just saw it play out. I mean, I think she attacked into 11 watt per kg probably like 4 or 5 times trying to bridge over.
It was a lot.
Yeah, and it just wouldn't happen. And you could see why it wouldn't happen, but it was like, oh my gosh, this is like great to watch.
Yeah, it was really good racing. Neil Frayette, also a shout out on the men's side of there because, and this is something in productions, we did a pretty good job, but I felt like we could have highlighted how close it actually was. On the men's side of things, I felt like we kind of made it seem like Duffy just walked away with it, which he did give a dominating performance as far as like, if you're talking, Jonas gets to the line over and over again first, and okay, it looks like he's the stronger rider, but Tade was still right there. Like Neil was still right there. Like if Duffy doesn't take second, and is in fourth, he's not the national. I don't know how far back it was, but he had to show like really be right there or win in that last one because Fryatt really put on quite the show to challenge a really, really strong team. And here's the other thing is like team was a huge part of it because I don't think Restart's quite as strong as a team as Next is. Next have a really deep roster. So Freyet's kind of doing this a little bit on his own, Sagan style a little bit. So definitely kudos to him, not having the team as much as Next is there to support Duffy and then still be able to be right there as far as points go. So it was really good racing all around for sure. And let's segue then into, we got Canadian nationals, we got cycling, Australian nationals now being announced. I mean, it seems to me, I think we've got a French nationals that are coming up. There's a couple of others. So I feel like there is a resurgence right now with the federations in a way, which is interesting that a lot of the federations are like now resurging on Zwift, and Worlds went to whoosh. Like, it's like, what just happened? Like, why were you all somewhere else for a while? And now all of a sudden, like, this seems like this doesn't make any sense. Anyway, any ideas there, Anna?
I mean, I think... So which is the one that folded as part of Wahoo? Was that RGT?
RGT, yeah, RGT. Yeah. Everything was on RGT.
So I think with RGT folding, that obviously pushed Echelon onto Zwift, which then I think Canada was also
Canada
on RGT.
Too. Yeah.
So then they had to go to Zwift. Aussie was not on that, but now they've probably seen the other two models and they've gone, oh, that's cool. I think let's go back in there. I mean, they run a series every winter, but they haven't really had like a national champs, And then I know New Zealand is talking about potentially Zwift as well. And so I think it's probably just taken, instead of all these, New Zealand was on like Be Cool, I think, for a while. And I think the federations were kind of just on all these kind of different platforms. And now that they've sort of seen them come together, they've gone, yeah, no, that actually looks pretty good. And I think it could create that, what I've wanted for a while, which is you actually pick your world champs team from these national championships. So you've got a lot of skin in the game, because if that was your only pathway to get in, that is going to push more people to go and do it, because you're not going to get these special selections. And then like what Sai said last week, because he wants the in real life pros on there, well, they have to do an esport national champs then to get to a world champs if they want to do it. And then if you suddenly have that happening all around the world, you've got a nice little national series happening.
It actually creates a lot of sports structure. That's something that's kind of missing in some ways. And that's the start right there of, at least you have a pathway that is on a regular rhythm to get to worlds through these national championships. So like, it isn't as ad hoc. It's kind of like a little bit more predictable. One of nationals, I can get to worlds this way, and I can kind of find out where I stand in my nation. You know what I mean? Because like where you stand is a huge part of sport. Like that's part of it's why we have a finish line. Well, where do I stand? Okay, where do I? So yeah, that's cool. That's a good look as to why maybe that's going on. So, well, let's go ahead and move forward. Zwift update 1.56. We've got the Zwift update expert with us.
Yes.
What is the biggest win on this update, which I don't think is like massive of an update or anything, but it is 1.56, but I mean, we're just getting into the new
biggest
year.
Win.
But I think I see it already. I'm gonna ask Eric mine first. Okay, I think you guys have the same one. We might all have the same exact one.
My biggest win is one that Nathan and I actually had a bit of a hand in, and that is hopefully fixing the wacky steering bug that was in ZRL races when you had the play controllers paired, and then you entered the pins. And it said steering and braking is disabled for this race, but you kept the controllers because you were using virtual shifting or you just wanted a quick power up button, and it would mess up the steering and your avatar would not steer well. It's really noticeable in TTTs. You'd be like just a little out of the draft, and supposedly that's fixed. Haven't been able to test it because it's kind of hard to test because you have to set up an event, have a bunch of riders in it, disable steering in the event. Like it's really hard to test. But I'm hoping it's fixed. That's my pick.
I can confirm that someone in the OMG chat said, looks like Zwift ironed out the Zwift play drifting issue. My left controller died last night. My avatar moved to the right and stayed there. I turned the right play off and my avatar literally moved to the middle of the road behind the next avatar that passed me immediately. And usually when you were already paired, it would start acting like you still had controllers work. So I think that might not be a one-to-one to what we had actually communicated, what the problem was, but I think this individual is pretty familiar with when the bug would show up. Yeah. And so it is related. So it sounds like the latest update has fixed it. And that one drove me crazy because I like being able to push the button for the power up in a ZRL race. Just push Y.
Yeah.
But if you want your play controllers on, you would end up not being able to draft because it would be like in this in-between figuring out whether or not you're trying to steer mode all of a sudden every time you went in. So it was like you couldn't use your... So then there's probably a bunch of people who are like, oh, that was what was going on because they didn't know why they weren't able to draft this whole time because they didn't realize it was a bug.
I thought everyone had that problem. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I know this problem intimately because of a TTT I did with your wife, Gabby, Nathan, where she might remember this and she was probably yelling at you to fix it during the race because... Firstly, I was on Gabby's wheel, which it's like, the Gabby train is, like pushing these huge watts. So you have to work bloody hard to stay on the wheel. And then something had happened. So same thing with what you're saying. It was a non-steering event, but they were on and she just kept drifting around and I'm not on her draft. And I was like, this is so hard anyway, and you're crushing me because every corner I'd get like 5 meters behind because she'd cut to a different line. I was like, oh, this is so bad.
It was like worse. It was like the worst drafting experience ever. It was worse than like just not having draft almost because it was like teasing you and like, like, and then you're backing off and going hard. Like, that was so bad.
I made the mistake of running the sauce for Zwift with the draft meter during my TTT, and you could see it. Like I'd be right behind my guy, saving 150 watts, and then it would steer me. Bloop, now you're saving 100 watts. I'm like, no, I have to put out 50 more watts.
So my favorite bullet point in this update was that you can skip the streaks screen. Because I'm not going to lie, I've been hard closing Zwift with that streak screen. Like, so that screen would open and I just...
That doesn't freak you out? That doesn't freak you out that you don't get the extra 500? Like, oh no, my 500's gone. Like, that, you're
I was just like, oh my, I'm so over the screen.
It's not
like,
worth the 500, just forget
stop.
it. I'm out of here. I want my time back.
Yeah, I cannot do this screen anymore. And then so that came up, I was like... Oh, phew. And actually what would be even better, because even the skip is an extra click that I don't want to do. I just want a radio button that says like, do you want to be involved in this streaks thing? And I'll be like, no, because I don't want to, I don't care.
My feedback. I would download Snapchat if I wanted. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm kind of like, I've been like, you only have to ride like twice a week, right? To get a streak. I'm like, don't worry about me. Like I'm good. I will ride twice a week, every week, forever. Like, don't worry. I don't need a streak.
Gabby has a good point. Gabby's coming into chat actually, and she says it should only be there when you're actually getting a streak, because you stop getting a streak after 2 rides every week.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you ride more than, so like if you get it, it makes sense that, okay, I'll skip it because but at least I know I got my 500, cool. And I know that I got my second one, cool. There's your confirmation. But then maybe like, why are you showing me the streak screen if like I'm not getting any streaks here? Like what's going on? But they're like motivating you to look at your experience. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I think like I just want to turn it off. So maybe the next update, it'll be like like the holograms button. Like I don't like the holograms when it's random people, when you go through and then it's like John Smith. And I'm like, I don't care how fast he sprinted that. Yeah, so I turned that off, and I love having the other holograms.
My competitive part of me with like the random people is like, well, who's this guy? Like, what is he doing here? Like, who's that guy? That's just some noob. Yeah, I'll take him. Whatever. That guy doesn't matter.
But I gotta say, so my son has been Zwifting every second day with me for the Tour de Zwift, and it has been really interesting watching what he gets excited about. He loves the holo replays. loves them. Like as soon as they come on, my sons freak out about the ghost that's turned up. Oh my God, there's a ghost. Beat it, beat it, beat it. We've got to beat the ghost. Because I was going to turn it off on theirs and they are so into it. So every segment, they're like, oh, there's the ghost waiting. Go, go, go. We've got to get the ghost. And then they're obsessed with power-ups now. So anytime a power-up comes on, and then I didn't tell them what they meant. They just had to guess. And so the feather came up and my 4-year-old's like, oh, it's the feather, quick. That tickles you and it makes you go faster. I was like, awesome. So yeah, it's quite cool seeing what they're because they don't even go to Repack Rush anymore. I thought they would only care about that, but they actually just love the holograms and the power-ups.
That's really interesting, actually. I wonder if kids give you a better look into like non-cyclists' interests in Zwift, in Zwift. You know what I mean? Because we have a very set reason usually I had a meeting this week with somebody at Zwift talking about the segments a little bit of like users. And we're definitely this like serious cyclist segment, and like Zwift really, really does well with serious cyclists or serious, people who really, really ride a bike or like this kind of training's their thing. They're looking for Zwift. We were looking for this before it was made because we sat on trainers indoors somewhere and needed a solution. But I wonder about other segments and what they're interested in and like what the ghost means to them. Well, that's like this random person I could just race right now. And I'm really excited about that. Whereas you're like, I don't care about that whatsoever. I have my plan and I know what I'm doing and I don't need you. Like, what are you doing here? Like, I think the kids actually might give a little bit more of a peek into like outside of all of the presuppositions that we bring as serious cyclists to why we're doing what we're doing into a whole totally different world as to why somebody might be doing the Zwift thing, which is pretty cool, I think.
It's been really cool to see. And the other thing is, as soon as they've finished their ride, straight to the garage. Did we unlock anything? Did we get anything new? I'm like, oh, okay. So there we go. That's what the kiddos care about.
Eric has a good question coming in that we can just throw into the middle of it. Can you guess where? We're not giving it away until the end, but where did that background come from? Just wondering. And Karsten, I just have to say, I you might have misunderstood what I was saying about the segment of individuals that I was talking about there, people who are new to the sport. What I was saying is that Zwift does really well with them by having them on the platform. That like most Zwifters are people who are already looking for this as a solution. That's all I was saying, just as a response to chat there. Not that it wouldn't appeal to recreational riders, etc. But okay, so next up, what do we got going on? Let's talk about indoor kits. So what's going on with the indoor kit stuff? That was the first reason that we actually wanted to bring Eric on. And we both have recently partnered up with Verge through both Zwift Community Live as well as Zwift Insider to make indoor kits. And we just wanted to have Eric on quickly here to talk about the differences and like because you did like a deep dive article on this. I mean, it's like pages about what is going on with indoor kits and like, kind of taking away like this, is there really anything different about it? So what was your takeaway? Because you really went into that.
So, the Verge kit, Charlie Issendorf, formerly head of events at Zwift, now works at Verge. And he contacted me back, I think it was in August, and was interested in having Verge create some kit stuff for Zwift Insider. And I said, do you guys have an indoor kit? He said, no, but that's one of my top priorities is I want us to develop an indoor kit. So I said, I would love to work with you guys to do that because I have ideas. Because I've tested just about every indoor kit that's out there. I've had the companies send them to me. I've reviewed them on the site. And I feel like just about every indoor kit I've tried It's like, oh, this is great, this is great, this is great, but would you do this? This is such a bad idea. And they're just never quite right. So I was able to work with Verge, and we went back and forth with like, I don't know, I think I have like 8 development kits in my closet, different versions of their indoor kit. But just to say what makes an indoor kit special, I sat down with Michael, the guy who started Verge, and Charlie, and we talked about what's special about indoor kit. And I said, it's got to let air through. It's got to be breathable. The sweat has to evaporate quickly off of it. I think the chamois should be really thin. There's no reason to have a thick pad when you're already going to be sweating a lot. Like, keep it thin. You don't need long stuff. Like your sleeves don't need to be super long. You don't need a collar. You don't need super long, pro length legs even. Like, just think about how cooling is essential and how it's going to be sweaty, and the kit is going to get damper when you're indoors than when you're outdoors. And what can you do to reduce that? So those are some of the things that I told him and what we kind of developed the kit around. And I think it came out really well.
That's pretty cool that you were able to take the years of indoor riding, specifically hanging out in and amongst indoor riders and writing for indoor riders for years, and then be able to go back and forth with a specific product and develop it kind of on your own. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah. It was
very,
great.
very, really cool.
And I even told them, like, they would send me a prototype and I'd go, oh, this jersey feels a lot like Castelli's, except the sleeves on it are better than what Castelli did, or all these different, so you could compare them, and it was great. It was it worked really well, and they were super responsive. I hadn't worked with Verge before this. I just knew their name, but yeah, I'm really impressed with them as a company.
Cool. Very, very cool. I like the little, what do you call this? Like the more or less weak, robust, lots of polish, lacking. Like, you have this sliding scale. You have a sliding scale over on the article, actually, that gives, where you've made these specific focuses to make it, more something or less of something, to give people an idea of exactly what the kit is up to, so pretty cool. I've never really been like, it wasn't until the last couple of years I focused very much like on this kind of stuff with kit, actually. And definitely the first time I rode specifically in this Verge kit, I rode, I think, almost 8 hours. So, like I said, it didn't even, I guess it was like, it didn't even notice it was there. So, and definitely had no problems. 8 hours of riding indoors can cause problems. I don't know if anyone noticed, but.
Yeah, I'd say, so I've got the Zwift Community Live kit, which is awesome, from Verge. And I'd say like my go-to, because I've seen Carsten come in with like streamer specific kit. I kind of agree. Like, I think like what I would love. So I wear the bibs, which I really, really like because they're just meshy as, and I didn't realize that about the chamois, but that makes sense. Like, because I was finding, like a lot of sweat in certain areas, and you kind of get off, especially after a race, and it's like summer here. So it's like 30 degrees, just being like, I'm like dripping. Whereas I've come off with those and I'm like, oh, this feels good. And the fan hits my leg right through the meshy fabric. So it feels good. But I pair it up with a base layer. So like a base layer that's been screen printed from a company here in New Zealand. Now that would be cool for streamers, because I saw even in because we're seeing a lot more people in their pain caves at the moment. Like if you had a rider, like I know Eleanor today when she won, she's got this like open jersey flapping like with the fan. But if you had just like a base layer with like your team screen printed on it, something, you can see it so clearly. Because a lot of the time, like I think you're supposed to wear like tops when you're doing the live stream on a Grand Prix or something. And sometimes you just don't want to, like, even I think it's like a head thing, even with the like Verge jersey on, I'm like, I get halfway through the race, I'm like ripping it off because I'm like, I just want like fan touching me everywhere. So yeah, something that's like a singlet version would be kind of cool.
You sound like a triathlete. You're
moving
okay
toward
having
triathlete. It is moving
us
towards
roadies are like, no.
sleeveless, base layer, and very breathable, almost mesh. I actually would go for.
Yes.
I would go for that. The only thing is, like, I do notice I do want to open up the jersey. Like, I want it to open. Like, I don't know if the base layer then also would have to open up, and I would be better with it.
You just like Hulk rip it off during a race. It's like, get this off.
I wonder if I'd be freaking out about not being able to open it up. Like, it needs to. Anyways, yeah. So.
A zippable base layer. We're
We're
developing a whole new line.
That'd be so weird.
The zippered base.
I wonder though, like, if there's a market for it just because they want something on. I don't know. Anyways.
So I did also trial like a year or so ago racing with the ice packs, like down the back of the top and all of that. I really did not enjoy that at all. Like I felt like the ice packs were like burning my skin. Like it was just like too cold. So, and I kind of think myself, like I'll slushy up a bottle. So I'll put a bottle in the freezer like morning of, and then by the time I'm racing, it's kind of half melting, but it's super cold. I way prefer that than having like ice on me. So
extremities and gut too, I think, has been shown to be like where it's at when it comes to like hands, and it was hands and face and gut were the places you wanted that cold anyways. I think anywhere else is just going to make your skin cold. Like you're just going to get, that's all it really, like even back and neck, I think, because of blood flow there, maybe, but outside of those spots, I'm pretty sure that there's not a whole lot of benefit. And you, Eric, this is a little bit of bunny trail, but you were working with somebody, I think, for a little while that was a specific hand cooling company, weren't you? Like they had a product that was specifically cooling hands. Was that you? I thought that was you.
I was working with core.
Oh, with heating, with core heating. That's what it was. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, it was a different. I remember. Yeah, because we were having that conversation about the how the brain thinks about cooling your body, and it's very interesting.
There's all these different companies coming out with different ways to manipulate the temperatures, though, specifically to get a response out of the body, a stress response out of the body, a recovery response out of the body, both heating and cooling.
I'm amazed by how many people say things like special indoor kit. That's where I wear my junkiest kit. And but it's also like, I'm pretty sure that it's some of the same people who are like show pictures of puddles of sweat and their bike rusted out. And it's like, I don't know. I'm picky about my kit, and because I get to be, but like I want something, especially indoors. I find that outdoors, like, outdoors I'm not as picky, but indoors I feel like it's got to fit just right, and it's got to be super breathable. And if it's not,
we're a different breed at this point, though. I think, Eric, because a lot of people have put their like, just think back, like, in the Stone Age, a long time ago, when we were still in our garages or our cellars and there was no smart trainer and it was just a wheel spinning on a dumb trainer and there was a puddle of sweat on a junky bike. Like there's probably most of the world is still there. You know what I mean?
So
and then getting introduced to Zwift.
Yeah. I'm like that though. Like I rocked up from my workout the other night and my husband was like, is it time that you throw away those bib shorts? And I'm like, no, they're great for indoor training, but I would never use them in a Zwift race. Like in a Zwift race, I'm like very particular because I don't want any sweat anywhere. I want to feel great. But workouts, I kind of like this sort of like ruggedy, like these bibs feel terrible, but like I'm getting it done. And it's,
see, on the bib side, on the bib side, I'm with you there. And on the clothing side, I definitely am wearing some stuff I'm not taking outside, or going out with. But but I've learned that the cycling space, if it's going to not wreck that space after a while. Like it needs to be looked after a little more than maybe we used to in our garages, I guess is what I'm getting after. And
Yeah.
that slowly starts to like pick up with everything in that space maybe a little bit. And I think that's maybe where Eric has landed on like, well, and also Eric, have you seen Eric Schlange's like area? Like it's, I think it challenges mine, and mine's pretty sick when it comes to like my Zwifting area, man. Like that guy's got 3 or 4 Zwift setups and like 5 screens and like I don't know how many computers are all going on at the same time to make the Zwift Insider headquarters testing and writing articles. Ugh, I feel like I walked into like the New York Times of Zwift. Like it's
Well, that's what Zwift Insider is. The New York Times of Zwift.
Yes.
I love it.
It is. It's
I'll take
good
it.
stuff. It's
I'll take
good
it.
stuff. All right, let's go on to our last topic here. This is a really cool, if you think maybe is this the next Tiny Races, but it happens on a little bit different of a rhythm in the year on a schedule, more in line with whenever we have tours that you could do something like this with, because Tiny Races is a huge hit, and I think this might be a huge hit. I want to see what happens if we really get some promo around there, out there about it. Zwift Insider, Tour de Zwift Chase Challenge. So at first I didn't quite get it, and I'm still need to ask some questions actually, but the idea here seems to be that you chase down as many riders as you possibly can, and the winner of the competition or doing well in this competition is passing as many riders as you could in the event. Do I have that right, Eric?
Yeah, that is it. So I actually did 2 different awards. One is because you might join an event that only has 300 riders in it. You might join one that has 1,000, and it'd be a lot easier to rack up, riders in the big event. So I'm doing a winner for just the pure number of riders that you pass, and also a winner for the percentage of the peloton that you pass. And those are two
Eric,
very different races.
Can I ask if you're going to give bonus points for the amount of abusive comments you get for racing a group ride?
Yes, I should.
Great.
And you can get screenshots. And get screenshots of abusive comments.
Yeah. Well, so the reason I did this is because I honestly, and I don't know if I might be a weirdo, but I am a weirdo. But
you're a weirdo.
Like these tour rides, I bet you 90% of the time when I ride a tour event in Zwift, I ride it this way, and it's usually like a zone 2 ride for me. I'm not riding it like an all out race, but I'll join the pins late. I'm in like the last 10% of the pins. I kind of lollygag my way out, and then I just have fun trying to see how far up I can get without killing myself, because it's a recovery day. But it just makes it fun. You're putting in little digs for 10 or 20 seconds to bridge up to the next group. You're getting people to work with you, trying to keep your heart rate down, ride efficiently, use power ups smartly. Like it just makes the ride fun. So that's why I did that one morning. And as I was doing it, I thought, wait a second, we could make this a whole competition. Like this could be a thing. And that's why I posted it.
But now the recovery ride, right, is going to turn into, because I think it's within the first kilometer, you've got a screenshot that you're as far back as possible. So now I feel like my Tour de Zwift recovery ride will be, okay, I'm 300th, and then it'll be zone 4 for like a very long time to like get to the number 1 position. So I feel like the zone 2 is out the window again for me.
Okay, I have a question.
But here's the thing.
Go ahead, Eric.
So Zwift could make this a super interesting challenge, like automating it in game. And I alluded to it on the post about this. Like I called it alternate challenges. But here's what I think would be a super cool challenge is to factor in, make it an efficiency challenge. So it's not just who's the strongest, it's who's the strongest, but keeps their heart rate average in zone 2 for the whole event. Something like that. And if Zwift has all that data, they could have a little meter that's going, okay, here's your average, or you could do it based on power, keep your power, make sure it averages zone 2, but something where it's not a race. Cause they're not races, they're rides. But make you work efficiently, engage your brain a little bit while you're still staying still having fun doing a lower effort ride.
Quick question. There was a rule I saw about the competition about not staying in the pen and having to wait until the 1K to get your first picture. Help me understand why that rule, like how is that rule making something different? Like, because you said, well, so you don't just sit in the pen and then you get an advantage somehow because of sitting in the pen? Like, what's the difference between waiting until the 1K and if someone did just sit in the pen?
Just seems like a fair way to do the whole thing. Offhand, I don't even remember. I reasoned it out when I wrote the whole thing out, but it's been a day, Nathan.
I think Eric I think Eric had said up to 1K. So I kind of get it. It's because when you're sitting in the pen, you don't see where you're ranked, right? Unless you actually cross over the line. So you've got to take a picture where you're showing where you are. So I think it was
you have to be at least 1K in is the rule. So it's at least 1K. I think it was mostly because I wanted people to not just sit back and wait, to be a part of the ride from the start of it. But also, you're not going to get a ranking if you just take it at the beginning. So there has to be some kind of a
gotcha.
Some kind of a start.
But like I would definitely like just ride to the back at the 1K till the 1K marker and then like go.
Well, that's what you do.
That's okay, right? Like that's okay to do?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure I understood that right. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you want to start as far back as you possibly can.
I just want to tell you, my son is going to like completely win this because he is driving some people in. Well, I say in the comments at the start, like, hey, FYI, my son is on like Z Power and he's on a recumbent bike. So he's going 50K an hour. But because I was finishing off a workout, I didn't put the thing in the chat yet. And when I came to join him, I did a late join. There were people like already, who's that pushing 8 watts a kg? And I'm like, oh no. And I'm like straight away, like, he's 6 years old and he weighs, 20 kg. Don't worry about it. But I was like, he'll love this. I'll be like, sit in the pen and now go right up and try and win. And we're going to send a photo into Zwift Insider and get you to take this competition out.
Okay, Nathan, I figured out why I did the rule.
Okay, let's hear it.
So imagine you're in the pens, 1,000 riders. You know that you need to pass all those riders. That's your goal, right? So what's going to be easier? Waiting for 10 seconds after everybody goes and sprinting to the front.
Yep, got it. And you just pass 1,000 riders real quick. So we have to wait till 1K for things to separate out because that gives the chase a stretch. Because otherwise, you could just quickly get to the front. That makes total sense, actually. Yeah.
I knew I had a good reason. I just couldn't remember what it was.
No, that's a really, really good reason. Because if you sit in the pen for just 5 seconds, you will be the last one. And then you could literally just sprint past 1,000 people in the first K. Like, it'd just be over then.
Yeah, and then you just have to hang with the front until the end. And then you win.
So that's a great point. So wait till the 1K. Now it makes total. I didn't get it at first, but that makes a lot of sense. Totally makes sense. And everybody else out there, if you see people trying to do the competition, don't push the pace. Push the pace at the front. It is a race now. It's a race. You're not going to.
Oh my God.
Spread it out.
Eric, is it across all stages or are you like, because there's 8 stages. Yeah. There's quite a lot. Okay.
Yeah, it was quite a lot. It's just basically you just comment on the post and you share your thing and it's just whoever does the best. So there's a lot of, right? There's like a million ways this can go because a lot of it depends on how many riders are in your race. It depends on the course you pick and how that suits you. I really like the
Do you know what
Rolling Highlands that was this week. It worked well.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm really hoping happens is that it really picks up steam and you start an event and then there's just like 20 people chilling on the start line with you rolling up and you're like, what are you doing? And then then basically it's a race because you've got all these people with you and then it's a race to see who could win out of that group of 20. That'd be awesome.
That would be super fun. Yeah, you have like a chase group of 20 people just flying through. I did this was that yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. I did the first one since I created this contest, and it was just, again, it was like a zone 2 ride for me. I was 1 beat per minute above my zone 2 at the end. I went a little too hard, but I was just I start picking through riders, and I start noticing there are names that are staying with me. And I had 2 guys that hung with me almost the whole time. And I don't know if they were doing the event or if they just were just having the same kind of fun that I usually have in these rides. But we were doing the same thing. You're like, you sit there and you go, okay, my legs are a little tired. Do I make a dig now? Is that group going to get away? Is the group I'm in just going to tow me to it? You have to make all these decisions. It's really interesting.
So on Tour de Zwift, it's 8 stages? I didn't realize it's 8 stages. Holy cow.
With races on the weekend, too.
Yeah.
The epic races. So it's
like a
event.
really big, like, long tour this year. I feel like it's a lot, but at the same time, I kind of feel like they've dressed it up a little more. They've rounded it out where there's more going on. You know, it's kind of like, you ever show up at, I don't know, like a circus or not a circus, like a carnival, and you kind of do a couple of the rides and you're done. It's like, well, yeah, I did a couple of things, and that was it. But this feels like there's enough going on. I can hang out all night. I don't know. There's definitely
the races I think are a great addition. Doing the big races, and they're adding and the last stage. Did you see it's new routes? It's the Rebel route. So no one's ridden any of those. So
I was looking for that. I was wondering where they were. I was just looking through, like, where's the Rebel route? Where's the Rebel route? But it's all on the last one. So you kind of have something to do all week if you want to do all of them on that stage. Yeah. Interesting.
It's also a really good way. I know Llama and I had the same thing that we did last year with the Tour de Zwift, or was the Tour of Watopia, but I guess we both had a long ride to do, and so we just did every single stage back to back to back to back on the last day when they do all the catch-up days. So another good little challenge. Nathan, I know you like your 200K challenge rides on the trainer.
I've been kind of like, when am I going to be able to do a good base? I'm in full reset mode and going to actually back off and rebuild and not be focused on high-end racing probably for a little while. So like, that's probably, so I'll join you. I'll join you on that. Probably is what we're looking for. What we're looking for there for sure. All right, let's move into, speaking of Tour de Zwift. That is what you can do you can add a little bit more to your carnival. That is the Tour de Zwift, and do the Chase Challenge. That's a pretty cool one. I'm gonna have to jump in pretty quick here. I missed the first week being sick, so I'll have to do some makeup obviously on that makeup week, but it sounds like I got plenty of homework to do there with Anna's new challenge for me. Let's go ahead and take a quick look here at the kit, and we'll give it some rating. And there it is. Who's gonna go first? Eric, what do you give it? We give very honest. We give very honest 1 to 10. Yep, 1 to 10 scale.
I'm gonna go with a 6.
6.
And 3.5 of that is because of the bucket hat. 3.5 of the minus is because of the bucket hat.
Otherwise it would be a 9.5. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds pretty extreme, doesn't it? Okay, maybe it's more of like a 4. I give it a 4. Yeah, I'm not super keen on the colors overall, but the bucket hat is the worst part in my book.
So yeah, I'm giving it a solid 2. I'm not a huge fan. A solid 2, right there on a 2, no decimal points, just a 2. I like the theme. Like, I like the theme that it's kind of groovy and like the Tour of Watopia. And I love the signage like on the roads, and I love the smiley face ride on. Just the kit doesn't land for me at all. And it'll be in my garage, and I can guarantee I will probably wear it on the the Rat Podcast ugly sweater ride will be this kit that I'll be rocking.
I do
like
kind of
the
feel
color
like
of the bib shorts. That's a cool color.
Yeah, Gabby always has
top
to
so
find
much.
something. She said that in chat, actually. The bib is pretty cool. So she did bring that in. She's always looking for the bright side. That's why I love Gabby.
Oh, Gabby.
But yeah. But I do feel like I just met Slimer in Ghostbusters with that ride on, and like, guys, this, like, I'm sorry, Zwift. I love you, Zwift, but this is the worst Tour de Zwift kit I've ever seen. Like, this is really, I'm sorry, but the color scheme, it's just not me. I don't know. I will give the shorts are very cool, and the little, very cool color, and that little accent with, I don't know, is that Zwift on the side of it or something? That does look cool. Outside of that, I don't know what was going on. This is not. This is a one. I don't know. Like, I wouldn't wear this. Yeah. So, sorry, Zwift. TDZ 2024 kits got a big no, thank you. So, that's our rating on the Tour de Zwift 2024. But everything else about the tour is really cool, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, just, I wish they didn't force me into that kit. Why do I have to wear? That's another like little pet peeve of mine. I'm going to keep on talking about. I'm going to wear whatever the heck I want to wear. And I don't want
agreed.
Like, why am I forced into a kit when we're all getting, and like, this is the biggest community thing that you're a part of. And then everyone, you can't differentiate anyone from each other.
Yes.
Like,
it drives me crazy.
Like, we're all just all have to be lemmings that promote Zwift's way they want to dress us. Like, that is
at least
so
in the
curator
the races
control.
they're doing, the weekend Tour de Zwift races, they don't put us in the kit. I was sure they were going to. I'm like, which is even worse when it's a true race.
Oh.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Do not force me. I went through and I clicked every other headwear option in my garage to try to remove the bucket hat, and it would not let me. I've got like 60 helmets and I couldn't wear any of them.
Now, camera angle 3.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Man.
I've been doing them all in camera angle 3. I have a thing now every time I do a Tour de Zwift ride. It's true. On all my rides, I switch to camera angle 3, and as soon as we start riding, I go, "You guys all look ridiculous in your hats." It's my thing.
It is a good ugly sweater. I'll give it that. And I mean, I gotta that forcing. I can't get over that. I'm just gonna hammer that one. That like we are all here to like see each other in this diverse community of people, and it's the least diverse like thing you could possibly do. And it's not like it's in partnership with anyone. It's not like, oh, we're partnering with Nicole or we're partnering with whoever. It's literally Zwift. Like, and we all have to wear your thing. Like, what? Anyway.
Oh my gosh. I get that though. I get it. I find, when you turn up in the pen and you kind of look around, it's like, feels a bit culty.
Who's that guy? Who's that guy? Who's that girl? I don't know who any of these people are. Yeah, everyone just
looks the same.
I'm just replicated. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Everyone's drink the Kool-Aid. Drink the Kool-Aid.
And if you're on a
like
Tron
this
bike,
kit, you will like the kit. You will like the bucket hat.
You're on a Tron
Eric.
bike and your rider doesn't even sit up. So you're in this peloton where everyone's wearing the same thing, and your guy isn't even like sat up like a normal guy would on any other bike. And then it's like, it's impossible to see you. Camera 3 again, just a pitch for that.
Oh my gosh, I love it. All right, I'm going to do a quick little shout out to Karsten because he did a good job. I saw you in chat there as well, but nice one, Karsten. Good, Eric, with the background. It's the gravel course they were trying out in the desert. Karsten, you are on top of it, man. Like, I am really impressed, actually, that you were able to pick that up because that is exactly what it is.
It's called Gravel Mountain. It's just one loop of a road that's way too wide. There are no gravel roads in the world that are as wide. Did you ever
actually get access? There was like somehow someone got in there and it was a YouTube video. You remember that, Eric? And we were freaking out about it.
I do remember that YouTube video. Yeah. Yeah, I got access. I hacked my way into it just to see what it was like, but it wasn't great. Road's too wide.
Oh, okay.
They didn't release
How
it
long
for
was
good
the
reason.
loop?
I could find out. I've got it on my routes thing actually. It's only. My guess is it's maybe a 3-mile loop.
So,
I could be wrong.
Eric, you're in the know. Are we going to see some new roads coming off the new road that got released at the end of 2023?
I have not heard anything, but Zwift is pretty. They keep it pretty. They hold it pretty close to the chest when it comes to new route stuff. So I don't know. I sure hope so. That's what everybody wants. Gravel Mountain and Gravel Mountain Reverse are both 3.2 miles, 5.2K, 5.1K right in there.
Okay, so not very long. Okay, so we're not missing out.
No,
No,
yeah,
it was just
it's
a
not
gravel road. It was just like
just a gravel loop.
It was just a gravel loop. So
They built it. I remember Wes Salmon saying they built it in a different way. They were trying to kind of programmatically generate roads and maps in a faster way than having to place everything manually. And that was it was an experimental way to do that, I guess. It looks like a normal Zwift world. I think all of Zwift's gravel roads are too wide. But yeah, I don't know why they never opened it up.
So another question that's come through for you, Eric, is are we going to see gravel and mountain bikes become valid again in game?
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, I don't think there's not a lot of demand from people saying I want to ride. I want it to be valid again. I'm not hearing that. I don't know that Zwift is hearing that, so it's probably not high on their list. I'd love to have single track stuff where mountain bikes perform better than anything else, and the roads are really narrow. And we've talked about this before, where you can't pass them in a race until it widens. I think that'd be super fun, but will that ever happen? I haven't heard anything from Zwift
if
about
you were forced to do sections of that in certain kinds of events that were kind of bigger promoted events and see if people liked it or not. I think you might get a lot of people like, what the heck? I'm stuck. Like, have you?
Yeah.
I think if steering becomes a bit more for the masses, that kind of thing would be super fun. Like I think like Jen and I raced. I think I said this a while back. We raced, like I'd never had so much fun with steering than when we were heading down the Alp and we both had steering enabled and we're trying to cut each other off on the corner and get ahead of each other. We could block. Now that would be fun, but I think you have to have the ability to block riders so they can't ride through you, and also way more people with steering. Because if you go on a single track and you can't steer, you're just like, this sucks.
So quick question on that front. Like you do that one time and then would you do it again? Like the reason you Zwift is to get a workout and like you're really specific about what you're doing with your time. So how many people would go do that? You know what I mean?
No,
like,
I'm more thinking like in a race. So like
in a race, like have sections specifically that are just in a race for that. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so like part of the race is you've gone even like the climb, Skur, and the summit, like the ones that have a few switchbacks. Like if you could try and get ahead of someone by cutting them off and doing something like that in a race, that would be fun. But not everyone has steering, and not many races have steering enabled.
Yeah. We have a comment coming in from multiple people saying just pave the jungle. Oh my goodness. These people.
Yeah. City folks. They just don't get it.
To pave the jungle? Just forget all the like what are you talking about?
Man.
Oh man, now look, I want to give the benefit of the doubt here. I'd love to hear that argument. We got to find a guest that actually would think that we should pave the jungle. Like, what's going on here? Can
definitely heard that from numerous Zwifters for sure.
Yeah. So you have Eric. So I mean, what do you think is being thought there? Like, quit trying to make it all something loud. Just I don't like I don't know what the deal is there.
My hunch is people who still want to pave the jungle haven't ridden it since it got faster. Because to me, it doesn't feel sluggish anymore. It with the faster dirt, it's like it's cool. It rolls slower than pavement, but it's not a slog like it used to be.
But like, why wouldn't you like
I don't know why
the
you'd
jungle that much? I don't understand why dirt's that big of a problem. It's just a little bit slower, and it's something different to have to deal with. Like these are just wheel suckers. I'm sorry.
They are. Clearly they are.
That's
who was it
why.
who said it?
That's why, because you're just not getting the benefit of sitting on someone's wheel the same way anymore. Like, that's the only thing I can think of. That's the problem. Or we're not going as fast through this section, so it's not used as much because you want to go somewhere that's faster because you actually think you're completing real Ks in some sort of way. I don't understand. I'm sorry. Look, I love you, Brian Kellison, and the others out there, and I'm trying to understand your perspective. You can correct me in the comments below. Please turn it into the Devil Clicks comment like crazy and tell me all the reasons I'm wrong. Absolutely love to hear it. Go ahead.
Yeah. I just want to note as well a point Carsten's made, which I completely agree with. And this is kind of, we've talked about it before a while back, but I personally see this as like, it would be a huge change to Zwift racing and ZRL to add this in where you would have options in a race to split from the pack. And you could say, be going along a road and it's like the little pop-up screen comes up and you go left and it's flat, but it's, I don't know, 5K, or you go right and it's got a punchy hill, but it's only like 4K. And you make the call and you go, where is my strength, or what should I do? Shall I attack here? And then after that, you guys come back together and you see where you're at. I just think that would be awesome. Like a bit more options within a race to sort of decide what's going to be best.
That's a really cool idea. There's been some brainstorming actually going on about trying to create things like that, but I think that's really difficult to do that with what we currently have. But that if it were in game with it purposely done that way, because the timings would have to be really specific, right? If you tried to do that now, it's going to be really difficult to make sense of it. But if the game were built and the roads were built that way specifically with that aim, I think you could get some really cool race situations where it's pick your own adventure kind of thing.
Yeah. They actually, in Indy Velo, there's a race course where it splits in two, and you don't select it though. It randomly allocates you to one side or the other, and one kind of goes uphill gradual and then a downhill with momentum, and the other side is pretty much flat. And it's fun because you don't know where you've split, and then guarantee like that's the point you attack, because you're scared, right? You're like, oh my God, are they going to get ahead? So you attack, and then you come back and you're like, no, I'm 10 seconds ahead. Awesome. So I think, I just think it would be cool. Because ZRL, if you look at, I know we're going to go into the weeds here, but ZRL, like the formats are great. The race courses are great. It's really cool. But I think another year of like a similar thing, I think there just needs to be something that kind of like creates a little difference next year. I don't know. I could be wrong here, but I just think, it'll be going to 4 or 5 years now, like a new little feature in game that could, even for one race, mix it up a little bit.
Pave the jungle and build condos, Kevin O has to say. Okay. I agree. That would be really cool. The little things like that, not too complicated, would add a lot, I think, to some of the events and races. It's a good one. That's a good feature. Shout out, Anna, for sure. All right. Well, that's going to be it, I think, for our episode. Let's go ahead and chat about the usual at the end of the episode. What are we up to for what's coming up? Well, what's coming up next for Zwift Insider? And what are you up to for the next week or so, or months? Because we don't see you but once a year or every couple of months. So what are you looking forward to, Eric?
Yeah. What am I looking forward to? I'm actually heading to SoCal Saturday, driving down there with the new bike to break it in with Mr. Eric Min himself.
What?
Who
Oh.
who basically has the same bike I do.
Oh.
He
You
got
guys
the
are going to
same
have
one.
like twinsy bike
So
selfies?
the two Erics.
That's amazing.
The Erics are going to be
and
twinning
Eric on the
in Long Beach.
Pinarellos that are Zwift twinning. Oh my gosh. And and you're going to wear the ugly sweater Tour de Zwift kit they'll give you because they'll have one for you, you know.
So I'm supposed to be getting that kit to actually to try it out and review it, because I reviewed last year's Tour de Zwift one too.
Oh
So
boy.
yeah, it is hilarious because I don't love the way it looks, but at least they're not going to send me a bucket hat. I was hoping to get it and to wear it down in Long Beach, but it hasn't arrived yet. So unless it gets here tomorrow, we won't. Anyway, yeah, that's back to back, probably 100 milers down in
Big
LA
rides.
traffic.
Really?
So, yeah, big
Wow.
rides, big base rides though. We're not going to.
Well, if you guys head west, you don't have to deal. If you're in Long Beach, you don't have to deal with too much. You can get out pretty quickly into those mountains over. There's kind of like little mountain area over there that there's good riding. Yeah, it's not too bad. That'll be cool. It'll be way cool. Anna, what about you?
It should be fun. Go a couple days off.
Tour de Boudica.
That's
Team
this
Riot's
weekend.
going on that. Yeah, next 3 days. So 3-day tour. I would say it's probably one of the biggest women's only events in Zwift. Like, I think there's the Fearless 1-day one, which would be similar, but this is a stage race, and there's like 350 plus women across all categories doing it. Even in the ACAT that I'm in, there's like 70 plus riders there. AO's there,
Nice.
like Riot's there. You've got heaps of like the top teams coming in. So it's going to be really rad. And I quite like the format. Tomorrow is very similar to tiny races, actually, Eric. You've started a bit of a thing here. So it's very short back-to-back races. Each one is only like, the first one's like 3K or 5K or something. And then, so 3 of those. And then you go into the next day, 10 laps of Glasgow. And then the last day is Legends and Lava. So, it's going to be fun.
Good courses. Courses. Yeah, I know Gabby's racing it. So with you, right? Like you're racing on the same
Yeah, she's on Team Riot. Yep.
On Riot.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's going to be good. I'm going to have to tune
And
in.
we've
There
got
is
our,
a ZMS live stream with women commentators too. Jillian.
Yes.
And I don't, what's the other commentator? She does the My Whoosh stuff. I'm not familiar with her. Actually,
no, I can't remember. I know Jillian's of Miles because that's her tag. I know Jillian's of Miles. But yeah, Jillian there, so she's awesome. Jilly Bean, I think she races as. So there's been a lot of banter going on our chat already. We've got Britt, who's in our group, who's slamming 3 Red Bulls before the race. So she's like, I'm all about breaking the pack. So she'll be sugar and caffeinated up. So yeah. It's gonna be
awesome.
Wild.
That'll be awesome. Very cool.
It's Julian Howland and Emma Martin.
Emma Martin. That's right.
Cool.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. Cool. Very, very cool. Well, that'll be awesome. Looking forward to supporting Team Riot this weekend and Gabby and checking out what's going on with the battle all weekend with that. We've got ERL Echelon Racing League on Saturday morning. And then I'm just going to see how much I can ride my bike and lift weights. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm going to be doing lots of Tour de Zwift. So if you see me on Zwift, I'll probably be doing lots of events, like to just like jump in for fun though, because I don't want to do ERG mode workouts or anything like you'll see me just jumping in and having fun in events, but putting lots of hours in on probably with back-to-back events as I feel better from this sickness. So that's where I am at. Appreciate it. I see chat saying rest up. Appreciate that very much. Well, that is going to be it for our episode. Did we figure out if this is 78 or 77? It says
no, it is 78. It is 78.
It is 78.
It is 78.
Okay, good. Okay,
yeah.
Right on. All right, that'll be it for episode number 78. Thanks everybody for tuning in. If you didn't know, it is a podcast as well. Head on over to zwiftcommunitylive.com/podcast and you can download it there or search the Rap and Zwift. Go check out all things Zwift Insider as well for updates on everything that Eric Schlange is putting out. And we have been live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Make sure to hit those follow buttons, like, comment, do all that great stuff. It does help us out a ton. We'll see you next week for episode number 79, 11 p.m. CST. And from Eric, Anna, and I, as always, everybody, ride on.